How you doing?
There he is right there, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse James Dupree, welcome to On the Road to Rock. How the hell are you, sir?
Just waking up every day and taking a big bite out of life's ass, just like you.
Okay, well, you gotta know something right now. You're on a Kansas City-based show here, and this is not Johnny Dare. I don't know how this is going to work for you, man. Are you going to be able to live in this world today?
I think I can handle it. Brother Johnny's he's definitely, I'd take a bullet for that guy. He's a good friend.
And you guys go way back here. Kansas City, I mean, this is where I discovered Jackyl. You guys played, I think, at the second ever Rock Fest here
That
in
is true.
1993, man.
Yeah, and they pushed it's so much rain. And while we were playing, they were expecting a couple of thousand people, and we had like 10,000 show up. And it was down at that lake. I don't know what lake it was, but it was in a lake. And they pushed the stage out from underneath the light rig. They were pushing us back. I had to stop the song and ask people to take some steps back because the stage was moving while it was a high class problem to have that everybody came out. But I think the crowd actually spilled. If I remember correctly, the crowd spilt over into the graveyard. There was a graveyard next to there, I think.
I think that was Smithville Lake, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a great or something like that. But yeah, just what a crazy day. And then we started the Aerosmith tour the very next day. We were like over in Topeka or something.
Wow, you guys, it was just like nonstop back then. It just seems like that's what Jackyl lived in. And the Woodstock gig is insane, and that's just what Jackyl was synonymous with back then. And you guys just were not like the bands of the time. Like you look at the other rock fests around then, and it was always the bands that were coming out in the 90s, but you guys were so different. But some bands didn't want to have you on their tours. Like you had Aerosmith, but Bon Jovi's said no, right? Leonard Skinner said no.
No, well, we were out with Skinner. Skinner asked us to leave because they thought we were offending half of their audience because we were playing She Loves My Cock. And it came down to us being told what we could and couldn't play. And so we said, thank you, we'll go ahead and leave. And then Bon Jovi offered us the slot on that tour, and we said no to that. And then Aerosmith, we were out with Aerosmith for about 2 years.
So that worked. You found a band that you could coexist with a little bit.
Well, we found Joe Perry. Joe Perry was the reason why we were out with him, because I didn't know at first, but about a year or so into the tour, I found out that the reason they kept us out there was because of Joe.
Amazing. The legacy lives on. You guys got a bunch of shows coming up, but Jesse, we got to talk about your latest single, and man, it's a banger. Never Gets Old. And if you check out the lyric video, I want to urge everyone to do it. Scan the QR code. You could win a trip to Daytona just from watching this damn lyric video that's got hidden meanings. It's got hidden fonts from every band known to man. If you can get all 30, you might just win more than that trip, man. I'm having a hard time figuring out every little reference and every little font. I'm trying to piece it together, man. This is badass shit.
35 of them, 35 bands that are represented in the lyrics and in the fonts that we use for the lyric video. And so you can hit the QR code and register to win the trip. And if you win the trip, we will check and see if you've named the bands correctly. And if you've named all 35 of them that we pay tribute to, then you get a bonus check of $1,000.
Not bad. I might need a little help. There's a few that I'm like struggling with. This is a great song. You and Brian Johnson teaming up on this one. It's got ACDC written all over it. And what I heard was you've been listening to a lot of ACDC lately, and you're like, I got to knock this out. So how it happened?
I went by, I don't know. When was the last time you went and listened to a full album from front to back?
I do it here and there,
Yeah, maybe you do it all the time.
For what I do.
I felt guilty because I had not done that. And so I went and listened to High Voltage, and I listened to High Voltage actually twice and from front to back. And then I listened to Highway to Hell, and then I listened to Back in Black. And then I just went to dinner and forgot about it. But the next day I woke up, I had these ideas, and I was influenced. And one thing led into my son walked in the door, and he lives up in Nashville. I didn't expect him to be coming home. And I said, go lace up the drums. And then that happened. And then 3 days after we recorded the stuff, Brian Johnson from ACDC called me, and we wrote the lyrics. I mean, none of it was planned. None of it.
Well, it's so good. Whenever you do something like this, you've done solo material over the years. How do you differentiate this is a Jesse James Dupree song album versus this is a Jackyl song or album?
Well, again, if this could have very well been stuff that we did with Jackyl, it would have sounded different, and it would been different performances because everybody's got their own styles. But again, this was not planned, and so I didn't decide that this was not going to be a Jackyl. I just decided that I was having some fun in the studio with my son and my best friend Roman, and who plays bass in Jackyl, and the next thing you know, we ended up with. I mean, that's the best music ever is music that just organically happens.
And this song, it sort of takes you on a roller coaster ride through your rock and roll influences. And I think that that's kind of what's important here. That's what stands out. And Brian, man, there's no one like him. A lot of people always say that like your voice reminds them of Brian, but man, Brian's getting ready to gear up. ACDC's got a show like next week. I mean, what the heck? This dude's iconic, legendary. There's no one like him. What's it like working with him? And man, it's going to be great to see ACDC back out there playing again.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you can imagine, it's an honor. It's an honor to work with Brian, and it's not lost on me that nobody in ACDC really ever works outside their band on anything. So it's a big deal that he and I work together and write songs together, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, and yeah, people compare us, as far as the singing style, but at the same time, when like on Locked and Loaded, you can hear how much we sound different. I mean, he's I appreciate the compliments, but I mean, Brian, there's only one Brian Johnson. I mean, he's a badass.
So the album Breathing Fire, it's coming out November 10th. So we got a little ways to wait on that one, but let's talk about it, kind of how this song fits in with the rest of it and what people can expect as the November 10th starts rolling around, man.
Well, the record comes out November the 10th. You can go to jessejamesdupree.com and you can get a limited vinyl. I just got the test pressing for the vinyl yesterday, and it sounds really great. And so we've got the record drops November the 10th. We're getting ready the second single will drop, probably in another 3 or 4 weeks, which is the title track off the album Breathing Fire. Right now, you can check out Never Gets Old. It's available on all streaming platforms. It's a matter of fact, they just, the distributor called yesterday excited because the streaming numbers are like popping through the roof on it. So that's really cool.
Man, it's great stuff. Always great when you see something new from you. You're always out there. You've just become one of those bands. Jackyl was always that band. I live in Kansas City, so when you guys are around, when you're around doing your solo stuff, it just kind of goes hand in hand. We talked about some of the history, but man, it just like you could go see Jackyl. You might see you at a big festival. It might be Rockfest. It might be the old Beaumont Club with blood spilling all over the ground. It may be the Full Throttle Saloon with Bill Goldberg introducing you. What is it? You guys celebrated your 30th anniversary last year. This band is iconic. It's everywhere. It is Americana. And you guys, you never know. You never know where you're going to be 30 years later, man. The importance is still there.
Yeah, we've been blessed to be able to, do what we do. I mean, Jackyl will be out, we're heading to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, first thing tomorrow, and we'll be playing up there. And then we got a whole run of dates that we're doing starting like right around the end of October, and we'll be on the tour bus heading up through the Midwest and such. And stay tuned. There hopefully it'll be a KC date before the end of the year, maybe. So we'll see. And but yeah, there's we stay moving forward, and I'm gonna find some time to do some of these dates with Nigel and Roman as well with this solo record.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see that. On into the next. I mean, obviously you guys released an album. Jackyl did back in like 22. So in a perfect world, as you're heading into 23, 24, you got more planned for that, more music, or is it just see what comes, tour dates, and whatever happens?
Yeah, we'll have to say. I mean, I do a lot of stuff. I've got the liquor. I consult the Harley Davidson Motor Company. It could all end tomorrow, but right now it's going strong and having a blast doing it. But right. Yeah, so just wake up every day and swing. JesseJamesSpirits.com. You mentioned it here in the Kansas City area. If you go to the store locator on your website, it's all over the place. It's down the street here at the Hy-Vee Wine and Spirits. It's everywhere. All your spirits are there, man. And just kind of talk about what that venture's been like for you. And you guys have so many different now offshoots. You got the American Outlaw Honey, the Spiced. The honey, yeah.
It's all out there.
There's still some barrel strength as well left in Kansas City. And Constantino's has got some in Balls Foods, the hen houses and Price Choppers, and those guys have always been great partners. Like say Hy-Vee and God, I can't even name all the stores. I appreciate all the stores in Kansas City that support the brand. And we're just doing really well with it. It's been out for about 7-8 years now, and it's just keeps chugging along doing its thing. If you come across a bottle of the Barrel Strength, be sure and grab it because it's great stuff.
Yeah, and I've not had the Devil's Devil Cinnamon yet. Like that's kind of another partnership you have. What's the deal with that stuff?
It'll set you alight.
Well, that's what I'm looking for.
It's got some heat. It's got some. Yeah, if you can't find it at a store there, just message us and let us know on the Facebook page or something. We do a good job of tracking that stuff and making sure that people don't have a hard time finding it.
We'll talk about what it's like working with your son. I mean, Nigel, I've seen Nigel Dupree band open for Jackyl on several occasions. He's gone on to do other things, other bands, other projects. Guy's a killer drummer. He's your son. What's that like, the dynamic there, working together, especially on a big time song and an album like you've got coming up here?
Well, he's a badass, and he plays guitar, he sings, and he's a great drummer. I'm proud of him, as you can imagine, and he's a good-looking little kid. He looks like his mama, so or maybe his real daddy. Maybe he looks like his real dad, and I just don't know it. But I've paid for him, so I'm going to keep him. It's. I mean, I get excited about it. I mean, Eddie did it with Wolfgang. And I don't know a lot of rock bands that consist of a father and son. And but when we play together in Roman, it's because he grew up playing with Roman. So the three of us lock in really tight.
The only comp I can make to this is Phil Collins' son played on the last Genesis tour. That's pretty cool, as they did Farewell. That's the only thing I can think of that it all relates. Okay.
Pete Townshend's son plays guitar with the Who when they go out.
Right. See, it does happen. And there's a lineage there. And for you guys, man, to have seen where he's grown. I think the first time I saw him, he might've been like 18 or 19 years old. He was young when he first had that Nigel Dupree band. Right. So he's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's
great. And he wrote and recorded every single song on that record.
He's incredible. That's got to be a great feeling. I got to ask you about this, Jesse. You guys grow up, Jackyl. Everybody knows Kennesaw, Georgia. When I was growing up and learning about Jackyl, I'm like, that's some magical far off place. I live in Missouri. I don't know much about the South. Well, my grandma winds up moving to Jasper, Georgia, about 45 minutes north of you there. Just talk Kennesaw, Georgia. Talk about kind of your upbringing, what it was like growing up there. And I've always wanted to know, are you a Georgia Bulldogs fan?
Well, I've been to Georgia Bulldogs games. I quit watching football, to be honest with you, back when Kenny Stabler retired. I mean, that's back whenever Joe Namath slept with Raquel Welch the night before he won the Super Bowl. That to me is when football players were for real, and they'd be drunk all night and then go out there and smoke on the sideline. I thought that was a rock and roll era of football. But as far as Kennesaw, Kennesaw, it's a mandatory law that every household must own a gun in the little town I live in. And while it might have been criticized by some, people about the gun control stuff, you can't argue with the facts that our crime rate has not went up, 1% in 20 years. Nobody's going to step into a house in Kennesaw because they're liable to hear.
There's a comfort to that.
Yeah, you hear that 12 gauge rack up one time, you go, okay, I better go on back to my house.
There's a real comfort to that. And that kind of leads me to this is like you being the way you are, and everybody appreciates just kind of who you are as a person, who Jackyl is, what you guys represent as a band, where you're from. But Jackyl, Jesse James Dupree nor Jackyl has ever been attempted to be canceled yet. Do you take that as sort of a slap in the face? Like they've not come for you yet. How's that possible?
We've never been the critic's choice either. I mean, we just always kind of existed in our own universe, and just for people that celebrate the fundamentals of rock and roll. And I don't know what they're going to come for with it all. I mean, they start attacking I'll leave it to Bono or Bruce Springsteen to write a song that can cure cancer. We're just trying to stimulate your glands.
But see, that's what I've always appreciated about music. And that's where it loses me sometimes I don't like anything holier than thou. And so that's pretty much eliminated me from many things these days, Jesse. It's a rough go of it, but that's why I appreciate people like yourself, people like Ted Nugent. I'm a big Ted guy. I can't help it. You like Ted?
He just texted me a couple of days ago about he had heard the new song and was telling me it was he said onward and rockward.
Did you guys ever tour together? Ever? I can't.
Yeah.
You have.
We spent 2 years on the road with the damn Yankees.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. That was great. I love that Yankees album. You guys sort of exist as Jackyl as sort of, you don't do a lot of the package tours that have happened over the last 30 years. You don't do a lot of the Poison, the Rats. Do you guys have friends in the industry, or you guys just like to fly it solo?
Well, I mean, we've been on shows. I mean, Stephen Piercy from Rats opening up for us this weekend.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, that happens, but I mean, yeah, we've not yet elected to really do any packages with that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Do you do any Monsters of Rock cruise? Have you ever done one of those yet?
No, we've been offered those, but we choose not to do them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you guys are. That's a good position to be, though, is in control of your own. Shows you do.
Yeah, we kind of find our own pathway to stuff. I mean, I'm not saying we won't ever do a cruise, and I'm not saying we won't ever package. Just so thus far, we've chosen not to do it.
Yeah, it's understandable. I'll tell you this. I did not have on my bingo card this morning any connection with you and a future guest here on the show, which is Penelope Spyris, the director of Wayne's World. Then I find out that there is one. I can't believe that. She said she kicked you guys off of the Beverly Hillbillies, the movie. You guys were going to do a song for her movie, and she said no after Playgirl.
I'm not aware of that, but I mean, but if she says it, I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know what why would that matter?
Look, you know who she is, the director from.
Yeah. Yeah, but I never heard that story, but I like it.
That's I mean, I just like to go with these things if it falls in my lap. But I mean, you did the Playgirl issue, and somehow this offended her, I guess. That's what
I don't know. I mean, you're telling me something that I didn't know. So, but bless her heart. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a new one, but that's cool that you're doing an interview, because she did what was that damn movie she did?
Decline of Western Civilization was the big one.
She did really great with that.
Well, the real reason I reached out to her, it's weird because she did the Little Rascals movie, and my uncle Carl was the original Alfalfa in the Our Gang series.
Oh, wow. How awesome is that?
Yeah. So like, if you hear, my name's Clint Schweitzer. If you watch any of the movies, they always call him Alfalfa Schweitzer or Switzer, depending on. So yeah, she did that movie, and there's a good connection there. But so yeah, we'll see. I don't know if you grew up watching that show at all, but
I mean, I love the Beverly Hillbillies, but I never did. She make the movie Beverly Hillbillies? She made a movie about it?
Yeah, the whole story. There's like this whole YouTube, like Rock and Roll True Stories, and it says that Jackyl was due to play like the theme song, and that she balked. The director balked at this after you did Playgirl. That's what I guess you can't believe everything you hear, but I want to believe this one.
Maybe you'll have to find out why, because I don't know.
I'm in. It's a mystery that I'm damn well going to unlock one of these days, Jesse, no doubt about it. Well, man, I tell you, with all you got coming up, we can't thank you enough for the time, and can't wait to see what the whole rest of this album sounds like, man, because I've got the single right here. Everybody's been checking it out. It's going nuts, man. Just on YouTube alone, it's already got like 50,000 views. It's going nuts. People are scanning this QR code. We're going to get a trip to Daytona, and I think it should be me, man.
Try to win it. Yeah, just so you can tell Penelope when you speak to her, you can tell her that I got a daughter that now that she's grown up and she found out about Playgirl, she canceled me out too. So
you have been canceled by someone. It's just your own daughter, I guess. I think it's a badge of honor, man. And what I love about Jackyl, what I love about you, your spirit, your energy, it sort of sets the tone for a lot of people. A voice for the voiceless, as I like to say about Ted Nugent. I think that goes for you as well. So you've got that heaped pressure added on now with everything else that you got. You're that guy for a lot of people.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, and you're waving the flag of rock and roll. So I appreciate you, and I hope to see you. Hopefully we'll get to KC before the end of the year. You have to come out and see a rock show.
I will do it. I always do. Jesse, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it, man. And best of luck going forward, buddy.
Thank you. Crank it up.
Thanks a lot.